Hey guys, it's Will here. I want to talk about the markets as usual, but just wanted to mention that the SEC now sued Coinbase over the exchange and staking program stock drops 18%. And previously they sued Binance as well. So that'll affect obviously the crypto, Bitcoin and other ones, but it also affects stocks such as Coinbase, the miners, some of the ETFs like GBTC and ETH, stuff like that. And some of the Coinbases, they're in ARK funds like ARK-K, and NASDAQ to some extent as well. So, but the markets themselves right now aren't, they're not doing much in terms of, they're fairly flat just right now. But so over in TC2000, I have these different tabs here, like in each square. So there's a lot of data. I can flip between the markets, the sectors, inverse ETFs, whatever I want to put up here. So if you want to get TC2000, which is what I'm using, the software, it's this charting software for scans and alerts and all that. Check out the link in the description below. You can get free trial or $25 off your subscription to help support my channel as well at no extra cost to you. I've been using this for years. I really like it. We can see that ARK, before I jump into the markets, it's down 1.64. So what happens with TC2000 really nice is this component watch list. Click on that and you'll see all the stocks usually within that ETF. If I reverse this percent change, you can see Coinbase is down 21% right now. So that's not going to bode well for anything related to the crypto market. So if we go to the sector ETF tab that I have, these are just ones I added myself. You can also go, if you go to this watch list, there's some up here at the top, US stocks, indices, ETFs, pre-market, and you can click on ETFs and get a ton of ETFs. Now sometimes there's a lot of stuff in here that the volume isn't very good, or there's repetitive ETFs. So for the most part, I've manually, and this has leverage ETFs and everything all together. So you'll get a lot of high percentages when you're trying to look at stuff because of the leveraged ones. So I manually added ETFs in different sectors myself. But we can see that, the ARK-F is down obviously because of the fintech stuff, Coinbase, Robinhood. But there's an ETH. So we had a support here. It's pushed right back up again, but we'll see if it can hang on to that support. But and the other one is GBTC. So right now there's not a huge reaction to it. 0.66. It's still sort of at this support level. You see, we have twice it touched this. It kind of supported there as well, and now we're kind of heading down towards that spot. But it's in a downtrend for sure. Okay, so back to the markets. I mentioned last video that I think that the US dollar index was hovering right at this 200 and it was kind of starting to bounce off here and head back up again. And we're not quite broken through that support, but we're just above the 200 right there. So it's showing us some strength, and that could bode, that could be bad for other things such as gold and equities and stuff like that. But the NASDAQ is 0.01. You can see these little dojis right up here. That's indecision and not much happening. So this could be, we'll see what happens if it reverses up here. But it's not been nothing much has been going on. But I mentioned a lot as well, like even if I start getting nervous, we're up here high in the price percent oscillator, like similar level to a previous high. You can see here 2.79 in the PPO. We're up off the ADMA quite a bit in the 50, so we're extended whenever that happens, I kind of get nervous. You could use these volatility stops or the recent low here as your stop around there. And if you've got profit, that could be a time to take some profit. Of course, you can get short little red dots that eventually go back again. So you can get back in. It's just that when you start to see this break down below the 80 MA, you could be tempted to get out just to prevent further loss. But then once you see this new higher low here, you could get back in, or you could get in when it goes to a green volatility stop again. So even though you might flip you in and out, it still protects you if things continue to decline. So NASDAQ, it's way up high. It looks good though. Strong, but it's just kind of extended. The Dow, it's kind of in this consolidated period, but it did pop up above the 50, and there's a bit of a pullback there. IWM had a big jump, and then it's pulling back. So this could be the start of of an uptrend again. But you just play it by ear. Like, I'm not trying to predict anything. I look at the current state, and whenever you get a big jump like that in a gap, you might get some profit taking and pullback. But this could be a sign that, like, the banks and things are going to start to go. I still have concerns about recession and all that, but Fed might raise rates again, not necessarily in June, but could still have to raise rates. It doesn't mean they're going to start going down again. So still be cautious, take it day by day, and base it on the charts that you have in front of you at the time. S&P 500 is looking good too. It's got some of the NASDAQ type stocks, so everything looks good in terms of those charts. It could change at any point in time, but that's where we're at. So then I go, as usual, into sectors. And, if you sort by percent change, you could get sucked into buying something just because there's an update. But I like to look at the year-to-date, 30-day, 5-day as well, just to see where we're headed. So like when I sort by year-to-date, this is a bit, it doesn't catch some recent moves. Like for Ethereum, you're in this downtrend right now, but you had an incredible run. So you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. Like, these are the ones that potentially have the best possibilities of gains, but at the current moment, you might not be the time to get in. And that's where the shorter durations come in, like the 30-day, you can see it's -11, -10. So, but these give you sort of the fangs, obviously, unbelievable run. Fairly extended. We're up close to the previous high of the price percent oscillator. But, you're still green volatility stops. Quite a bit above the 80 MA and the 50. So if you're not in right now, you might want to wait for a pullback and then a sign like this after this pullback that we're going to start heading up. So when we get either back closer to the 50 or other moving averages, that might be a better entry point. Because you have to look at, when you buy, where's your stop? And that could be the volatility stop, so that, lowers your risk. But if you look at the recent low here, it's quite a bit. It's 12% from there. So if you decide to use the volatility stop, if you buy, say, here and then you get this red, there's more chance of losses, but you can get in and, anywhere along here, you could theoretically get in and use the volatility stops. It's just that, the ideal is after this pullback, and having a recent low is a good spot to have your stop as a physical point where the price reversed. So in addition to FANG, you've got SMH. So FANG, FNGS also had NVIDIA, so that's part of the SMH semiconductor. So we have this sort of, you can see the curl down of the momentum and this pullback here. But we'll see, once you get stabilized and start heading up again, that might be a better entry point. If that happens, it may not happen, but when you see a jump and a gap and like a vertical jump here, it's not a great time to get in, just from a risk reward perspective, because your stop would be down here if you use the recent low of the price. So it's good to decide what your strategy is. Price is usually the best way to go. You could use volatility stop. Like if the candle jumped way up here and you wanted to buy there, you could use the volatility stop as your low. And then when it goes up here, you can use these volatility stops. So you can still profit by jumping in after the fact, because there's a strong jump. But a very low risk entry point is after a pullback, and then you start to see green volatility stops in a break of this downtrend. And that's where, it's a bit better spot to be into. And then, like I said, you can go into the SMH ETF or any ETF and look at the stocks that are in there and take a look at, you can sort and see NVIDIA 165%. So this is kind of a nice level-headed run, like where you're still close to the 80 MA and the 50-day, but then when you gap like that, that was on the news. So they're reporting their earnings. It's a little bit riskier when you're way up there, but so I don't like to get in on those situations, generally speaking. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. You might want to look at inverse ETFs, like BIDI is the inverse Bitcoin. You can see how it's been slowly moving up with these green volatility stops. We had a recent low here. I drew a bit of a purple line here horizontally. You can do a horizontal line by holding the shift button. So if on the side of the TC2000, there's a little palette. If I draw a line and you want to make it horizontal, you hold the shift like that. And that's like, you can do a little support. You can turn off all the lines at any point in time, just temporarily show or hide, which is nice. Sometimes it clutters up the diagram. But yeah, so if you want to get a free trial, like I said earlier, check out the link in the description. And $25 off if you want to get a monthly subscription. I've got the gold membership. I've got real-time data, US real-time data, so there's no delay. Normally there's like a 15-minute delay, but if you want real-time, that's you can sign up for the US real-time data. So I've got a column. I've just done this myself. Tesla has an inverse. ARK funds have an inverse ETF. I put UUP in here just because the dollar can be an inverse as well. Like if the stocks are going down, the dollar is going up, that might be, you don't necessarily want to buy the UUP, but it is something that would be generally not good for certain things like gold or the stock market. There's a bunch of ones, RWM, there's REK, R-E-K, which is the real estate market. Obviously, it's not looking great right now, but you had a bit of a run here and a bit of a run back here. SH is the inverse S&P. DOG is the inverse Dow Jones. Some people get into the VIXI. It's fairly volatile, but it's been heading down quite a bit. At some point, it will reverse. It's gotten really low. You can't really compare this chart to previous because it'll just keep going down lower and lower. But, that's pretty low there. PSQ is the NASDAQ one. Again, you need to see a break of the downtrend and higher lows like this. You see how you had a low here and then another higher low. That's where you might get in. These are somewhat short-lived a lot of times. So, although there was a good one, obviously, that was in 2022, but, that's up to you if you want to get into those ones. But hopefully that helps you. It's 10:33 now, or sorry, in my time it's 9:30, so the market's opened up, and you can see 0.43. So things are going down a little bit with the tech. If we go to percent change, we're probably going to see Ethereum and GBTC are 1.5, so a bit more downtrend. So we're probably going to see a sell. We'll see what happens if people buy in and buy the dips, but the US, the SEC is going after crypto quite strongly, and the theory is that they're going to do a CBDC, central bank digital currency, and that a lot of these things are securities. So even though Bitcoin is not going to probably be deemed a security, it's a commodity. If you can't buy Bitcoin on the the exchanges, or it's going to be difficult, then that's going to affect the volume of supply and demand of people buying it. But This stuff will probably move offshore, but it is going to affect people. These are the on-ramps, they call them. Operation Choke Point, where all the places you can buy crypto are going to get squashed, whatever you want to call it. So we'll see what happens over time. But it's not a good scenario right now. You can see we're kind of breaking down below this low on Ethereum right now. So it's right at a critical point where it could head down a lot more. But people will be buying dips and things, so we'll see. It's a battle out there. So we'll talk to you guys in the next video.